Hello, beautifuls, and welcome back. Today, I want to talk to you guys about what happened last week because this ties into the rest of the month. As y'all know, I had a very important guest, family member, come in last week, and we did some family bonding. We had a daughter who passed away of cancer 5 years ago now, and it was her 21st birthday on the 12th. So her biological mom flew in from Alaska. I was the bonus mom. Um, we just did some fun things with our children and grandchildren and did a lot of healing. And I mention that because that's exactly what Pluto going direct means for us. And I'll just start off by saying Pluto went into retrograde, I want to say 8 years ago. It was a long time, and it's a very long transit, as you have to remember this is one of those outer planets. So while we don't feel the energy heavy, we will feel it for a while. It goes deep and we feel it for a while. Okay, so what we should have learned from Pluto retrograde is that it should have taught us how expensive, how taxing negative energies, toxic people, the wrong environments can be to our health, whether it be our mental health, our physical health, our spiritual health, our total well-being is how it'll affect us. So what does all this mean? We are lucky enough that Pluto went direct around the time we had our full moon. And so the energies really got a little bit of momentum going in for us, which makes it, and y'all comment below, let me know if it's easier for you now or more simpler to see a problem as it is arising, right? It's like a red flag. Red flags are just like easier to see. You're able to see a problem before it becomes a problem. You're able to see patterns in people, whereas other times you would have never seen it until the chaos exploded, right? So when Pluto goes direct, it really just means it's easier for you to now recognize these things and to say, no thank you, I do not want seconds of that dish, right? We're sending that back to the kitchen. And this can come in the form of breakups breakups with people who have no respect for us, who are mistreating us, or it can be breakups due to realizing that you've been kind of selling yourself short. You've been accepting things and tolerating things that are not for your highest good. And maybe in that you've recognized a little bit of disturbance within you, whether that is anxiety, that is fear, it is keeping you bottled down, it has you walking on eggshells, right? That's what that energy is. And we don't need to do that, you guys. We don't need to be in that energy anymore. We get to choose. We get to decide what comes into our life now and what we want to bring into our life now. And I wrote down Rodney Dangerfield because he's the guy who says, I get no respect. If you're in a relationship like that, I'm talking to you. It's time for you to respect yourself enough to get out of there, okay? What else? Yes, it's just about leaving things that no longer fulfill us, and that can be in the work setting as well. A lot of people on my social media accounts I can see have quit jobs, started something new for themselves, or are traveling across the country, have had breakups, marriages fall apart that have been together for years, and finally finding that happy moment with somebody way brand new, right? So they say you can love somebody for a lifetime and then meet somebody and in an instant, you just know. So that's exactly what all of these energies coming about are happening. So what I really want to stress here is integration. Integration is bringing in the new energy, bringing in the new lessons and working those into our day-to-day life, our to-do list, creating a habit out of positive new things, right? This is the opportunity for you to go in and extend to yourself the gift of self-forgiveness, forgiving yourself for allowing that to happen, forgiving yourself for shrinking you and allowing somebody else to shine, for forgiving yourself for allowing toxic behavior and turning the other cheek, or not seeing it for what it truly was. Okay, what this is not the time to do, once you do realize the lesson, and once you do say, yeah, I don't want that anymore, and you cut off and you break the ties, it's very important to start creating that positive habit. The action behind the thought, the action behind the newness is what is going to carry you forward, okay? So if we heal, if we forgive, and if we recognize, we learn to identify what those red flags are, what that discomfort or dis-ease is within our chakra system, and we learn to let it flow beautifully, the energies within us, which, let me just side note here, you guys, your chakra system is like the check engine light of your car. If something feels off in your gut, in your heart, you just get this icky feeling, it's telling you we are out of balance. This energy is not right for us because we're not flowing good, okay? So that's just a little side note I wanted to put in there. Okay, so let me see. Let's use food for an example, or healthy habits, right? Let's say we've had a poor relationship with food, because this is something that I do want to work on. Let's say we've had a poor relationship with food, and we know that we want fruits and vegetables and water, etc., a little bit of 30-minute cardio exercise throughout our day, right? We know that's what we're supposed to do. So if we're recognizing I really need to start eating healthy, and I'm thinking every New Year's resolution, but we fail, we're failing ourselves. We're falling into that trap of failing ourselves. So here's what we don't want to do. We do not want to suppress the new change that we're trying to bring in. We don't want to put that off. We don't want to procrastinate there. The more that you resist this new way of living, these new habits that you're trying to bring in, the more that you resist them, the more that you have open space, because you've healed that, so you have that open space for this energy to kind of come back in. And because you don't know anything new yet, you haven't created that new healthy habit. Does that make sense? So action, it requires action to get going and to really make things happen. So you're going to have to be real with yourself. You're going to have to step up for yourself. If you're wanting healthy habit changes like I am, you need to commit to you, because nobody else will commit to you. You don't have a trainer who's going to come and grab you out of the bed and say, okay, let's do our 30-minute cardio, or let's sit in meditation for a while and figure out what is coming next, right? And if you don't do that, it's like, why did you go through all that pain to find the lesson when you're not going to change? Ding, ding, ding. Yes. And as I speak that, I can see every relationship that I had that was toxic, that I recognized was toxic and walked away from, only to walk into a brand new relationship that was toxic, because I was going with what was familiar instead of going with something new. Okay, so we have to integrate the lesson. We have to practice what we're preaching, what we're telling ourselves. Okay, so yes, I talked about the check engine light. What are some things that bring about change? Getting organized. Decluttering was a big one for me. I decluttered my entire house to where I got rid of everything that I have been packing along my journey, right? From my first apartment to my first big house, things that just stayed in boxes or were in storage units that I never really got into and grabbed. All of that stuff, gone. Like, it felt so good. It felt so good to not have to carry all that anymore. Another thing, therapy can help you if you don't feel like you can create these changes, positive changes on your own, as well as getting into some support groups, whether it be online or in person, whatever will hold accountability for you. That's what you want to do. Famous last words. You cannot do what you have always done and expect to have change. That was one that took me a minute. Literally today it kind of went off in my head. Crap, I did this. I felt like because I was able to recognize the toxic situation or the bad behavior or what I no longer wanted to put up with, because I was able to recognize and put myself first and see my way out of that situation, I thought that was it. I really was like, hey, we're good. But why am I coming back around and I'm in the same type of relationship? That is because if you don't integrate your lesson, if you don't weave that lesson, that new lesson into your life, into your lifestyle, that you didn't learn it. Because your actions are not aligning with learning the lesson. Your actions say you just went right back to it, right? And I can see where I was doing that. Hi, time to practice healthy choices and make them action items. Okay, so this is the time to welcome in all the positivity, even if you have to create it. And when it comes to healthy lifestyles, you guys, you have to create it. So I don't want this video to go any longer than that, but that was talking a little bit about Pluto going direct, which will go retrograde again. And I think it's next month actually, or it could be something else. Don't quote me on that because I didn't write it down. But I'm going to start tapping into some of these other energies happening, like Mars retrograde into Gemini and all this other good stuff, you guys. So stay tuned. I love you. Do your shadow work. Heal your inner self. Positive affirmations require action. Action creates the habit, okay? Love and light.